Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi, and today I'll be playing a certain Realkind detective named Shiro Azumi. And with me today is the wonderful, the amazing.
Oh, stop. My name is Oatmeal, and I will be playing the professor today.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, so for today, Professor, how long has it been since the events of Professor's Eidolons?
Huh. It's probably been, um, well, when he talked to Arata, uh, it was maybe 2 days later, a Wednesday when it happened on a Monday. So it's probably a little later in the week. It's probably Thursday or Friday of that, the week after Arata went missing.
All right. Um. Okay. Yeah. So, that's all fine and dandy. Would it be all right to say that the professor's probably checking in on some people, presumably in, let's say, uh, Good Time Town?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Wonderful. So, Professor, you're probably like walking around in Good Time Town. And you come across a familiar spot that you had been about a month or so ago. Um, do you want to roll me a quick perception?
Yeah, I'm curious which spot this is. Um, 11. Nope. Wait. No, that was supposed to be it isn't 11 because I typed it wrong.
Oh, you're so fine.
There we go.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that hard to like beat. You do walk across the You're walking down the street and the sidewalk words, and you have are walking along the side of a familiar graveyard.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and as you look in into the like little area, you see the same bench that you had sat at with Azumi, and sure enough, there is somebody there.
Hmm. Uh, I think he's gonna stop and take a closer look. Enter the graveyard.
All right, I'm gonna roll a quick perception, but that's gonna be at disadvantage for reasons.
Mm.
All right, that was a 10.
Oh, good grief.
um, oh goodness. Uh, yeah, no. As you walk into the graveyard, you realize that the person who is sitting at the bench is, in fact, Shiro Azumi,
Mm-hmm.
and he has not noticed you approach. Um, he is kind of sitting with his back against the back of the bench, and his head is tilted somewhat
Hmm.
upwards. Um, the look in his eyes uh, seems to indicate that he is deep in thought.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he has not noticed you yet.
Mm-hmm. Uh, the professor keeps walking in. Um, I want to roll stealth just to see uh how uh how long it takes. No, that was a seven. Um, no, he's making enough noise, but uh he does just sort of not say anything as he makes his way over to the bench and uh takes a seat next to Azumi.
Oh goodness. Yeah. There is a moment like as you approach where he seems to like startle. Um, and you see him like kind of like shift into that like he's about to get into that usual facade you have seen him in before he uh blinks and realizes who it is, and then he's just, oh, it's just you.
Mm-hmm. He looks slightly amused. What's on your mind?
Mm. Quite a number of things, but it's a bit difficult trying to get a single coherent thought with two freeloaders. And
Mm,
he kind of like rubs the heel of his palm against his forehead.
hmm. The professor he looks less than amused for a second as he sort of recognizes that gesture as one that he's done a lot recently, um at least up until a certain point. Um but he's back to smiling a second later, um as he just sort of leans back and makes himself comfortable on the bench. Um, and he says, uh, "Did you always?" And he just sort of gestures at him, like what you just said about the quarry.
Mm. He kind of sighs and he nods. He says, "Ever since I was, ever since I was young, for as long as I can remember."
Hmm. Hmm. I admit I'm curious as to how it happened, how it turned out. Wonder if it's just random chance or...
I, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Neither of them know. Would the both of you just shut up already?
Mm.
I'm sorry, they don't exactly get along.
No, that's all right.
Mm.
Sorry about absconding with errata. I might have asked them to leave notes if I knew we were going to be gone that long.
Mm.
Then again, it is not really my habit to leave much of a notice.
Leave me, I've already spoken to Arata about it.
Hmm.
I would say something to you as well, but unfortunately, I've had a similar situation occur.
Oh,
Apparently, I missed 2 days in a strange phone dimension. I'm
oh,
still not entirely sure what happened with that.
how very odd. Hmm.
What exactly happened to you?
Oh, well, huh.
If you're at
Well,
liberty to say.
no, I am. Well, um, I was looking to talk to somebody who I hadn't seen in a while. They were a very difficult person to find. Matter of fact, I had thought he was I'd thought he was dead. Um, and so I didn't think I had a chance of finding him. And then when I met Retcon, one of the local gods, he gave me a hint that he might not be dead. So that I got all excited and found him. Turns out he was dead because of my actions, unfortunately. And I, but instead of not having anyone to talk to or not finding anybody, I encountered his ghost, which was a bit of a surprise. Time stars aren't supposed to form um undead, but uh, now that I think about it, if he was one of the original time stars, he would have never gained the ability to regenerate, so he wouldn't he would be susceptible to um, the normal laws of the dead and the undead. How very strange. Well, in any case, um, I wanted to have a talk, um, but instead he possessed me. Not too surprising, all told. Um, he wanted to escape. Couldn't have that. We dealt with it. I got some of the information I wanted, and then we managed to come back here.
A week later.
Unfortunately, yes. The uh you see this person, Epsilon, he was located on a demiplane deep in the deep ethereal. So the ride was time works differently down there.
Hmm.
It was hard enough getting the ellipsis in and back out uh intact and with everybody safe, but uh getting the landing coordinates precisely correct is it's always been a bit tricky. And well, she was a week off, or I was a week off. Oh, I don't care who you want to blame.
Question. Can I roll insight on that like little hesitant moment in the middle of the professor's explanation?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna have to remind me specifically which one.
He was dead because of, and then there was a,
Ah,
yeah,
oh my! I forget you have.
bonker stats.
Oh, Izumi. Um, we love this terrible little boy.
Sneaky bastard man.
Um, yeah, he hesitated because uh it is not too difficult to figure that uh the the normal uh flow of the his phrasing would have been like he died because I killed him. But that is not what how he chose to word it. Um, for uh for some reason, there was definitely guilt. Um, he's not like it's not like he's um trying to not it's not like he's trying to make it sound like it wasn't his fault by saying that. It's more um it's more between force of habit and um just not wanting to word it like that because that sounds awful. And that's
Oh
just
boy.
very unlike him, at least in his mind.
I think there's a moment where like he kind of looks at you like he's like nodding along and taking your explanation in, and he just I think he just eventually nods like, all right, like you already know his biggest secret.
Uh-huh.
So like he's not gonna judge you for it. Um
Uh-huh.
and God forbid he tries to give you a spiel on morals.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting coming from him.
Yeah, no. He's not that kind of guy. But eventually he just crosses his arms against his chest and like leans back again, like he's a little bit more relaxed.
Hmm.
And he just goes, "Well, I'm like I said earlier, I'm not exactly in a place to berate you for missing out on an entire week. But the next time you take Satomi somewhere, a warning at the very least."
I'll see what I can do. Hmm. Well, while we're here and at least semi-obliquely on the subject, um, what was it like? What was it like when you died?
And he's not like his head isn't turned in your direction, but he does like glance at you through like the corner of his eyes, and he goes, "What do you mean?"
I mean, what was the experience like? What did it feel like? What I'm asking to compare notes.
Hmm. Let's see. And he kind of sighs and brings a hand to his head like he's trying to remember, and he goes, "Well, I had felt quite a bit of desperation. Um, I remember being angry, but when am I not? Um, I had gotten shot straight through the heart. It was rather painful.
I know that one.
Hi, Maki. Sorry, my cat just like tried to like claw onto my lap. I'm like, okay, kitty. um, um, and he goes, as for being dead, I have no memory. It
Hmm.
was, well, I was in the bowels of a cognitive cruise ship, and then all of a sudden I woke up in a rather tiny apartment.
Strange.
Hmm.
I mean, not out of Not just the circumstance, not the death, not particularly strange, but odd what happened in between.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Do you mind if I posit something with you?
Hmm. By all means.
Don't you find it odd that for the entire time I was looking for Trickster, I had come across several individuals who knew him directly, such
Mm-hmm.
as yourself and Bevan Brush.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's coincidence?
Hmm. Do I think it's coincidence? Well, it's not like we were set up to meet each other.
Hmm.
I don't think it was destined, if that's what you're asking. I don't think it was through anyone's um uh machinations,
Hmm.
uh unless they were on your side, because it wasn't on mine, that's for sure.
It's rather odd, considering how many people I had encountered who fit that category, I suppose you could say. That in consideration with the fact that I had been charmed into trying to reconcile with Trickster, it takes a deep breath and like tries to figure out a way to word this that in a way that he doesn't sound crazy, but
Mm.
like he's already at this point. I I would loathe to jump to conclusions without proper evidence, but to me it feels as though somebody was trying to get us to talk in the first place.
No, I think that tracks. I don't know if uh the meetings in particular uh were were set up or prompted by anything other than random chance, but you're certainly some things, some things using you.
Hmm.
That much is clear.
When am I ever not being used? And he kind of just sighs and rubs a hand against his face.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't like it. Some things, it's hard to tell whether it's using the two of you to, I can't tell if it's pitting you two against each other and this is just a lull in between, or if it's or if it's meant to bring you together in order to uh ally you against something else. It's too familiar, honestly. The Time Stars tried and succeeded. Similar thing with myself and my old rival. They found out after the fact that they had uh while I was exiled, they released him from prison. The word was that he'd escaped, broken out, but no, they'd released him, um, and set him on my path so that the two of us would be occupied with each other and stay out of their way. And they manipulated the both of us to achieve various outcomes that were in their favor. And this went on for decades.
Hmm. That sounds rather similar to what Satomi told me earlier about the, what did he call it? Yaldabaoth? Mm.
Oh, he talked to you about that. The Holy Grail.
I hate that's what it's called.
Mhm.
Gods.
Mhm.
My entire life at the whims of some asinine false deity. What choice did I have? Story of my life.
Hmm.
Do you want to roll insight?
Yeah. Oh, good grief. Uh, what is my... Yeah, I thought so. Sorry, it's bad.
No, it's okay.
I got a 6.
Ow, gosh.
Um, I could just jump to the question he was going to ask, though, instead, because
Yeah,
he's...
go for it, go for it.
Yeah, because I don't think he's gonna gain anything from just paying attention. Ooh, dropped my... Hello? Dice? Where'd it go?
Oh no.
Ah, hang on a second. Where did it go? Hello? Oh, there it is. I found it.
You're right.
Yeah, I got it.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, he was going to ask, um, how did you come to be an assassin in the first place?
Hmm. His demeanor changes.
Mm-hmm.
He straightens and he brings a hand to his knee and he just starts like tapping a finger and he goes, "Why do you want to know?"
Just curious. You were talking about being manipulated and used and not having any choice in anything, and I was curious if that was a choice that you made or that somebody made for you.
Mm. There's a quiet pause and he goes, "Hmm. How much do you know about Yedo culture?"
Mm, only, only a little bit.
Hmm. Let me see if I can find a way to put it in a way you would understand. Um, I was a bastard child. Um, and my mother was shunned for having a child out of wedlock. And after some time, she died, and ever since then, it wasn't that I made a choice, but it felt like I had no other choice to make in order to find a way to advance.
Hmm.
Because in the end, no matter what I did, I was still unwanted.
Hmm. And if you served a purpose, at least then you were in demand, which is not the same thing, but it can offer a sort of similar feeling.
Something to that extent, yes. I was young. I I am still young. I don't
Yes.
I don't well, now I realized how stupid I was, but back then I had done I had been particular about everything. My grades, the public image, everything. Just so someone would want me around.
You know you don't have to do that anymore. Any of it.
Kind of like sighs and deflates. And he says, well, I suppose it's as they say. Old habits die hard. Oh, would the both of you just shut up already?
Hmm. Well, old habits don't die at all unless you try to change them. He tilts his head a little bit. Have you tried at all recently?
Hmm. Uh, Goodness.
To recognize yourself as more than just a tool?
Hmm. He kind of just. How do I put this into words? He kind of just sighs again and just says, trying. Not exactly sure how far it's getting me.
Trying to start. And if it's really not getting you much of anywhere, you can always ask for help.
Oh my god. I just thought of a response I was going to like, oh, it's going to get. This is so stupid.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, help.
Hmm.
I would have to explain why I'm in this position, and then who would want to who would want to help a murderer?
Who indeed? Well, I'm talking to you, aren't I? And then there's, Arata. He already knows. There's Arata's friends who,
Out of the
they
question.
may not know the details.
Out of the question entirely.
Fine. Why? Oh, you mean the spirit rogues?
Yes.
Well, fine. All right. No, that I can understand. That's a something of a delicate situation. Well, not them, not those friends. His friends in Inkwell. And from what I can tell, you seem to have made some friends of your own.
None of them know.
But how long until they find out? There's that one detective, Camille. How long do you think till he figures it out? He may only be 6, but
Don't.
he figured quite a lot about me on our first meeting. Granted, I accidentally spooked him and offered some of it myself as a apology. But I mean, that's sometimes how it goes. Relationships are give and take.
Camille is. Oh, he puts his heads in his hand. He puts his head in his hands and he's just. I don't think I could do that to Camille.
The professor hesitates and nods. That's fair. But I'll say again, I'm listening. And I may just be some stranger you bumped into on the street, but we've exchanged a fair bit of sensitive information now, and he just sort of shrugs. We don't have to be best friends for me to try and help. It's just what I do, really.
There's a moment where, like, he pauses and he lets out a laugh. And he takes a moment to gather himself again and he's just. You are beyond my comprehension. Same with Satomi.
Hmm. What do you mean by that? We don't fit in your view of the world. Is that it? We don't make sense the way you see it working.
He pauses, thinks, and then nods.
Hmm. Well, I've never claimed to be normal, so
No, quite the opposite. You did rather
mm,
admit to being an alien rather easily.
I did. Well, a lot of people find out sooner or later, and I've had a pretty good uh pretty good track history on this planet so far. Nobody's He tilts his head. Nobody's tried to kill me for it, I don't think. That's honestly, this might be a record.
I think I'll emphasize what I said earlier.
Well, and what would that be?
You're beyond my comprehension. Alien time traveler.
Well, I don't
Exist as
have.
seen.
Hmm. Well, that's true enough. But I don't have to be just that. I can be a scientist. I can be an advisor. I can be once upon a time I was a father. I can be a
Oh
mechanic.
goodness. Okay. That was an attempt at a deception. Um,
Oh,
uh,
hmm. That doesn't even pass his passive.
yeah. You say something about being a father, and
Uh-huh.
then just the slightest of flinches before Azumi breaks eye contact with you.
What? What is it? I know what I said. What about it?
Sammy Satomi was rambling about found family paperwork or whatever it is, but I had
Oh,
assumed you were offering.
you,
Never mind.
oh man. Oh, uh, the professor, uh, the professor, uh, leans forward and runs a hand over his face and through his hair. And he looks um kind of awkward and um uh embarrassed, and he says, "Oh, well, that
Even if you had offered, it's a no.
that's." He goes quiet. Wasn't my intention in bringing it up.
Yeah,
Uh, just on the mind. I know that's not something I'm doing. Um, Even the child I mentioned, uh, Mitmat, my ward, uh, just just my ward. Um, I'm
mm,
That's not not something I'm.
mm.
People keep talking about family. That's part of how I got stuck in my own head a few days ago, trying to remember my old one. Everyone on Unquell keeps talking about it, keeps talking about
It's
it. Hmm?
rather sickening.
It's it's not sickening. It's
It is for someone who's. Never mind.
no, you make a fair point. Personally, it was more just um personally I well, it's a nice sentiment. I wish more places had something like that in place, but uh, I don't see myself making use of it, not least because of the alien time traveler bit. I don't really tend to stay in one place for for long enough for that sort of thing. But that aside, if you just need somebody to talk to, like you said, we already know each other's secrets, and we're still willing to talk to each other.
Mm.
So if you just need someone to act as a sounding board for ideas, he shrugs. I'm around for now.
Is it always like this? The
Always like
doubts.
what? Oh,
Doubts and second guessing myself.
hmm.
Paradise exploded, so I suppose he had it in him to begin with, and now
Sorry?
I'm wondering what it means for me.
What means for you? Sorry, you said paradise exploded.
Some town in Inkwell, apparently wiped off the map by explosives. The man responsible was found dead,
Recently?
supposedly. Sometime within the past month.
Oh, goodness. How did I miss that? What? And you were investigating?
For a time, I suppose you could say.
Well, what's the rest of it?
I'd met the man responsible, and it's odd. I never really did like looking at myself in the reflection. I didn't like it then either.
Uh, hmm. Hmm.
Didn't like it that much when I died either, so.
Mm-hmm.
It is just. Doubt.
Well, there will always be doubt. Even if old doubt goes away, there will be new doubt. But the best you can do is just use it to figure out how you want to shape yourself, shape others, how you can learn from your mistakes or stand by them.
Mm. In that same vein, I suppose I should say I have doubts about getting further involved with the case involving the the carnival here and Daisy, and I'm beginning to wonder if I should keep my distance.
Mm. Well, you you could if you think things if you feel strongly that things might go poorly with your um uh, continued involvement, uh, you're certainly able to step away from it, but I will say, uh, your your expertise as an investigator would be missed, and your insights as a smart young man who understands others better than he understands himself.
I'm just. I'm not exactly a good omen. I'm just.
Oh, man.
I
Oh,
am
please.
just worried about Joy. I don't. She already seems to have quite enough going on. I don't want to invite any more of. And he does a vague hand gesture to himself. Any more of this into her life.
The professor, he looks at first like he's going to be dismissive, and then, um,
Please
uh,
tell this boy how stupid he is.
but, but then he looks away and, uh, kind of pulls at his hair again. All right. I know what you mean. I'm certainly, depending on who you ask, I'm either very good luck or very, 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 very bad luck. Um, from where I'm sitting, I sure do bring an awful lot of uh destruction wherever I go. But it all depends how you use that influence. And you're not you're not going to bring you're not going to bring bad luck to somebody you're trying to help. It just doesn't it's not how that works. You don't actually believe in luck, do you?
I'm not quite sure what I believe in anymore.
Well, I don't see any point in dropping the case just because
Mm.
just because you've got things going on. I mean, you certainly can, and he sort of like rolls his head like whatever. Um, but I don't know. I feel like you're being silly and self-depreciating. You can have valid reasons for leaving the case, but these aren't those.
Sorry, that's me laughing because he's absolutely right. He takes a deep breath and sighs. And he goes, hmm. Joy already has someone looking out for her.
What, me?
Yes. As well as, a few
Well,
others who
good.
have been involved in the case.
I'm aware, but I could use the help.
That's why I
I'm
wanted
I'm
to ask, do
I'm
you
not gonna.
want me on the case?
Yes, I'm not gonna be here forever. And he sort of rolls his eyes. If we're both bad luck, well, maybe if we're both involved, we'll cancel each other out.
On the subject of luck, I feel it's a little bit too late to mention that I do happen to know a warlock who is, whose patron is a luck goddess.
Luck goddess. Good grief. Hey, what, is he a gambler?
Actually, no, he's a chef. Uh,
Chef?
yes, he works at, he's apparently head of the kitchen of, Dodo Studios.
Really?
Yes,
Makes
apparently he,
those, westerns and the other recent movies.
and Azumi nods, and he says, well, he's tried to explain it to me before. It was a matter of, making your own luck, but in order to do
Oh,
that, you have to put yourself into situations, and hence, uh, he'd been well, he had been kidnapped twice in the same week.
hmm.
There's been quite a number of things he's gotten involved with.
Well, I mean, with that sort of philosophy, I don't doubt it. Huh, how strange. Well, I can tell you I've gotten myself involved in countless situations, and they didn't seem to bring me any luck. So I don't know about that. Maybe things work differently here. Make your own luck. I can sort of get behind that ideal, but by just getting into trouble, I don't know if that's quite the way to do it. I mean, I was going to do that anyway, but
Well, I'm not the warlock here.
indeed.
Hmm.
Chef, though, interesting profession for a warlock. Would not have guessed. Well, what do you say? Are you going to stay on?
I I think I will.
The professor smiles. Good.
Mm.
If you have to leave, you may. But I look forward to working with you while you're still involved.
It's strange.
Hmm.
Could
Hmm?
have sworn I've said something similar to Satomi when I tricked him into thinking that I wasn't the one responsible for the mental shutdowns. Hmm.
The professor's expression, um, sours somewhat. Are you accusing me of being facetious? Or
No,
just making an observation?
just an observation. It is rather frightening how much you have in common with Satomi, though. I will say that.
Hmm. Jeannie says we're both jokers.
Fools.
Yes, that's the one, yes.
He just. He shrugs and he goes, I haven't the slightest idea what that means.
You should look into Arcana.
Hmm.
Ah,
I. Uh, I apologize for earlier about the topic I had mistaken. Um,
no, that was I think a fair, mistake. You don't have to apologize.
mm,
I'm sorry my answer was disappointing.
mm,
I wish I could offer you something like that, honestly. I
I
wish I could,
I don't
but,
think I would be able to take it.
well, I suppose that puts us on equal footing then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, consider it if you get an offer from somebody else.
I really don't think I would be able to. Cultural differences. Let's just leave it at that, I suppose.
Perhaps. But at any age, it can be nice to gain a mentor. You don't you don't grow out of needing help.
You see him hesitate and frown, like he has thought of another question he wants to ask.
Hmm. He tilts his head.
Um, why does it feel like I have to earn it in order to deserve it?
Uh, well, I have to imagine That's going to be partially because of how you grew up and the way you've been thinking for most of your life. Um, you feel like you have to earn it because you feel like to get anything, you must be useful. Um, that's not that's not the case. There are a lot of people that will demand that, but that is not a truth of the universe. You There are people who will offer things, offer counsel for free, and you're allowed to take it. You don't have to earn help. You don't have to earn value. You have a you have a baseline um, value simply by existing, and that's all you need to deserve an astonishing number of things, really. Whether or not you get them is up to uh, random chance, the machinations of others, uh, just how things happen, but just because you don't get something doesn't mean you didn't deserve it, and likewise, just because you're offered something doesn't mean you have to earn it. If you really want to get around that old way of thinking, um, you can bend and twist it a little bit. Um, uh, consider genuine thank yous um, as sufficient recompense, as legitimate payment, if you must think that way. Um, if it's too hard to get out of that way of thinking entirely, just modify it. Make things a little easier for yourself.
Hmm. He looks thoughtful. Well, I suppose I could give it a shot.
Certainly.
Oh, goodness. What were you gonna ask, Azumi?
The professor just sort of watches him for a few seconds of sort of comfortable silence and uh kicks his feet a little bit back and forth and uh, leans back with a grin um and says somewhat out of the blue, "I like talking to you."
Oh, goodness. And he whips his head to look at you like, what? Like, there is so much confusion on his face. what, what do you mean by that?
You're an interesting conversational partner, that's all. You're 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 intelligent and critical and um uh there they are you're sometimes frustrating, but uh stimulating conversation. I can't tell you how many people are so boring to talk to, but not you.
Entertaining.
Mm, not quite the word I would use. No, plenty of people are funny. Uh, you're not funny, dear. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was so good. Okay, continue.
But but you do make fantastic intelligent conversation. Like uh who is it you remind me of? A lab assistant I had once.
Oh, right.
No, just don't mind me. I'm just making silly comments.
I. Hmm.
Point is, I'd be very frustrated and very bored without someone like that to talk to, and you remind me of them in that way.
I. All right. I. Hmm. There's a slight pause as he thinks to himself, and he goes, "No, the only time I've heard that compliment was when I had been giving interviews back in Yedo.
Interviews.
I was a rather famous detective.
Mm-hmm. Well, who gave you the compliment?
Typically, the interviewers."
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but they were probably being facetious.
Oh no, I was far aware of that.
Hmm. Well, I'm not trying to get anything out of you. I'm not an interviewer. I don't have a network to report to. I just think you have a interesting flavor of intelligence. Some not not common. Some nice to find it now and again. And to
There's
put up with my nonsense too. I mean, that takes a certain amount of patience.
I'm used to Satomi.
That's fair.
There's like a hesitant pause before you see him blink and sighs in frustration and rub a hand against his face. And in Quarry, he 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 he's he grumbles, "Why are you laughing?"
Well, somebody found that funny.
They're both rather frustrating to work with.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I can imagine it would be.
Never, never a dull moment. If they're not arguing, they are waiting for a reason to argue.
Hmm.
Mm. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Oh, are you kidding? I interrupted you.
Were you about to check on Joy?
Yes,
All right. Do you mind a +1?
not at all.
All right. Well, shall we?
Yes.
And he stands up from the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really have much of anything else. um,
Yeah, I think they probably uh go uh see Joy together and yeah.
and yeah, thank you
Mhm.
so much for playing with me, Oatmeal.
Yeah, thank you, Avi. This was great. Oh my God.
it was it was an interesting conversation. I think I really like that. uh,
Yeah.
and thank you so much to all of our listeners.
Mhm.
Absolutely fantastic, both now and in the future.
Hmm.
And we bid you all a good time zone. Bye bye.
Bye.